Hi, everyone, again. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining today. My name is Parker. I'm the Health and Wellbeing Specialist in Risk Services. So I create workshops for the campus and for departments. I also run health coaching groups and the wellness challenges, just any programs to support the health and well-being of our faculty and staff here at UC Santa Cruz. I have a master's in nutrition and health coaching, and I've previously worked in restaurants for over 10 years. And this inspired me to help folks learn how to support their health with good food and lifestyle habits. So today we're going to talk about different ways that we can cook to support our health, our hearts. We'll start out with explaining what a balanced plate is, ways to add more fiber, cooking and recipe tips and tricks, and lifestyle that can support your heart. So to start off with, feel free to share when you think of heart healthy eating, what are the foods that come to mind for you? Absolutely. We will talk about all of these. So thanks for sharing. And these are all delicious ideas, and all of them have heart healthy benefits for sure. So we'll talk about that. And to get the most benefits, however, it's not about maximizing any one particular food, but instead including a variety of foods and concentrating on your overall eating pattern of how you cook as well. And when paired with lifestyle habits like getting enough sleep and stress management, then altogether, that's truly the best recipe to support your heart health. Having a heart healthy dietary pattern can be as simple as using the deliciously balanced plate approach from the American Heart Association. If you've been in my workshops before, you already know, and here are a couple of extra tips too. So start out with serving yourself half of your plate as fruits and vegetables. This might be surprising to hear that half of our overall eating should be vegetables and fruits, but it's because they have a lot of incredible heart protective properties. Veggies and fruits have fiber, which can help with blood glucose control and lowering cholesterol levels. They also have vitamins and minerals, and these help your metabolism run optimally. They also have antioxidants and polyphenols, which support your immune system and helps to lower inflammation in the body. Then, one fourth of the plate is for lean protein. The top tip here is to include more plant proteins. Plant proteins include legumes, so beans, lentils, peas, and also soy products like tofu and edamame. Seitan is a plant-based protein made of wheat gluten, and this is incredibly protein dense as well. You can make adding more plant-based protein easy by just adding a can of beans to a soup or to top your salad, or adding in tofu to your typical stir fry. If you eat animal products, pick the options that are lower in saturated fat, and these include skinless poultry like chicken and turkey, fish and seafood, low or non-fat dairy, eggs, and egg whites. For red meat, limit red meat, especially when you can see the fat marbling, and limit processed meats because these are going to be high in additives, also including a lot of salt. So things like sausage and deli meat. When purchasing red meat, though, look for loins or rounds. These are cuts that are going to be lower in saturated fat. And for ground meat, look for 90% or higher lean meat. Finally, one fourth of the plate is for complex carbs. These include whole grains, which have all three components of the grain still intact, meaning it has the starchy endosperm, the germ, and the outer husk layer. And altogether, these provide fiber, vitamins, minerals, and other bioactive compounds that support heart health. Whole grains include brown rice, whole wheat flour, quinoa, and even popcorn. There are so many different whole grains, and regular consumption of whole grain foods is associated with lower risks of cardiovascular disease, coronary heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes when you compare those diets to ones that are low in whole grain foods. Whole grains are also associated with more favorable blood pressure levels, blood lipid levels, and long-term blood sugar control. So to make this easy, start by adding quinoa to your pot of rice or adding farro to a salad or grain bowl. They even have microwavable pouches at the grocery store. So if you're like me and you can't cook a grain on a stove, I can only use a rice cooker. Then these are really easy to help me get those in. Starchy vegetables like sweet potatoes, beans, and plantains are all examples of complex carbs. They are whole foods that provide a lot of nutrition, whereas refined carbohydrate foods like white flour products tend to be lower in nutrition and can lead to high blood sugar levels, especially when eaten in excess. Finish your plate off with some healthy fats like nuts, seeds, avocado, olive oil, and canola cooking oil. These are all foods that contain high levels of monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, which help improve cholesterol levels, especially when they're replacing saturated fats. These are fats that support heart health and brain health, and they also provide anti-inflammatory effects that protect the heart. But really, the most heart protective way to eat is to add more plants, as you've already mentioned. But if your plate doesn't look like this already, that's totally fine. Make gradual changes over time, maybe adding fruits at breakfast, hummus, and vegetable sticks for a snack, or a side salad at dinner. Go slowly over time, and it'll start to feel really natural. So now let's talk about fiber, which is your heart's favorite nutrient. It's linked to lower rates of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even colorectal cancer. We as humans don't digest fiber, so it travels down our digestive system and eventually influences gut health, blood glucose control, fat metabolism, and our fullness levels. Soluble fiber is one type of fiber that absorbs water to form a gel during digestion. This helps you to feel fuller for longer. It delays blood glucose absorption and helps to keep blood sugar levels more steady. Another wonderful thing that soluble fiber does is it helps to lower LDL cholesterol levels by binding to bile acids in your intestines. It's also food for our gut microbiome, which are the colonies of bacteria and microorganisms in our gut. When they can eat soluble fiber foods, they produce compounds that decrease inflammation, support our metabolism, and supports our immune systems. Examples for soluble fiber foods include legumes, so beans, lentils, and chickpeas, grains and seeds like oats, barley, and chia seeds, vegetables like carrots, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, fruits like apples, pears, citrus berries, and summer fruits like peaches and plums. But if you don't eat a lot of these foods regularly, add them in slowly across multiple meals throughout the day, and this will help your gut microbiome adjust. Insoluble fiber, on the other hand, doesn't dissolve in water, but it does help with fullness. It adds bulk to promote digestive regularity and supports insulin sensitivity. These vegetables high in insoluble fiber include green beans, cauliflower, zucchini, broccoli stems, and leafy greens like spinach and kale. Whole grains include whole wheat, brown rice, and nuts and seeds also include almonds, walnuts, flax seeds, chia seeds. Legumes also have insoluble fiber, and fruits also include apples and pears. But with leaving the skin on, there's a lot of nutrition in the skin. Also, berries, especially raspberries and blackberries, and then grapes and oranges. But this list is not exhaustive. Most Americans don't get enough fiber, so aim for at least 25 grams a day for females and 38 grams a day for males. And the big tip here is to concentrate on including a wide variety because all plant foods have fiber. My next question is a little bit more specific. What are your favorite ways to eat beans? Beans are one of the number one heart protective foods because they're so high in soluble fiber and a lot of good minerals and antioxidants. Let's see. Burrito bowls. Absolutely. Taco soup, delicious. Soups and stews, super easy. Lentil soup, just toss it into a bowl like a salad. Awesome. Thanks everyone for sharing a lot of different ideas here. And maybe go home and try something new today. Greens and beans, escarole and white beans. Love white beans, delicious. Thanks for all those great ideas. Heart healthy cooking can be really easy, just making a couple of adjustments. Use methods that use a low amount of oil and fat, like baking, roasting, broiling, and grilling. Water-based cooking methods actually don't even need to use any fat. So this is one of the best heart healthy ways to cook, and it includes steaming, boiling, and blanching. And if you haven't tried blanching your vegetables, you boil them for just a couple minutes, drop them into ice water to stop them from overcooking, and it keeps your vegetables really crisp, really vibrant and colorful. Air frying is another method you can use, and it can help you achieve that crispiness similar to deep frying, but with much, much less oil. Sauteing and stir frying also use oil, but you can control the amount that goes inside. Olive oil, canola oil, and avocado oil are all great options that you can measure out. So plant oils, seed oils, but hold the tropical plant oils like coconut oil and palm oil, which are higher in saturated fat. And then lastly, use less salt. Excessive salt can lead to higher blood pressure and heart disease risk. Most Americans get too much salt. Many ultra-processed foods and packaged foods are high in added salt. And the American Heart Association recommends less than 2,300 milligrams of salt a day. So as for cooking, try saving salting until the very end, or you can finish the dish with an acid like lemon or vinegar, and this can bring the whole dish to life without adding any extra salt. Another idea is to use plenty herbs and spices, and this comes with the added bonus of just adding a more concentrated form of vegetables. A great tip that is one of my favorites is to sprinkle your meal with parsley or green onions or any kind of herb at the end, because adding herbs to your meal automatically makes it look really good and look like it tastes better. And it's true, pretty food is delicious and a really easy way to impress your family. If you are short on time, though, definitely look for convenient ready-made options. Just look at the labels for how much saturated fat, added sugar, and added salt it has. Getting fruits and vegetables are also great, fresh, but so are frozen, canned, and dried forms. The quick processing time that it takes holds on to a lot of nutrients, and it can be a lot more cost effective too. Just for fun, maybe go to the grocery store next and compare a carton of fresh berries to a bag of frozen berries and just see how that compares. Again, for all these options, look for added salt and sugar on the labels. As for limits, limit sugar sweetened beverages and foods that have high amounts of added sugars, saturated fat, and sodium. This can be the case with many snacks and pastries. Limit deep frying. It adds a lot of oil to food, and it can even form trans fats due to the high cooking temperature. Trans fats and saturated fats can raise LDL cholesterol and lead to coronary heart disease and atherosclerosis if they're eaten in excess. saturated fats are generally solid at room temperature, like butter, lard, and shortening. Full fat dairy, like heavy cream, is also high in saturated fat, as well as marbled meat, coconut oil, and then foods that have palm oil. Processed meats as well have a lot of additives, as we mentioned, so being mindful, including sausage, bacon, and deli meat. Definitely check the labels, but remember that all foods can fit when you have all of your other nutritional bases covered, and it'll be the frequency and the amount that are going to make the biggest impact. Our tips and tricks for recipes. You want to take care of your health, but of course, you want to enjoy all of your favorite recipes still. So you can do that by just making a couple modifications. For ingredients, look for healthy swaps by switching a food that is high in saturated fat to one that includes a healthy fat. So that might be switching butter to olive oil or ground beef to ground turkey or even beans. For cream sauce, you can use soy milk to make that. If you get a pizza instead of sausage pizza, maybe a chicken and veggie pizza, use lower non-fat milk in place of whole milk, and use air frying, baking, or roasting instead of deep frying. Adopt an additive mindset and look for ways to add more nutritious foods to your day. That's going to be one of the easiest ways to help you improve your health. So if you notice that you need to eat more greens, you can pour a bag of spinach or a broccoli into whatever you're cooking. If you need more fiber, you can add celery and nuts to one of your snacks. And for adding more plant protein, for our soup lovers, you can just drop some firm tofu into your soup. So we had a lot of ideas. Did anyone notice something fun or new that you want to try out or share one of your favorite cooking methods or tips yourself? Exactly. If the vegetable is there, they'll probably reach for it just because it's convenient. Oh, Whole Foods has a lot of options like Moroccan lentil stew. Ooh, and it's in a bag that you can microwave, and lentils have so much fiber too, and lots of protein. Great, thanks. And now we come to lifestyle. So when it comes to our health, it's best to take a holistic approach. Along with nutrition, all of these other areas also greatly impact each other to support our health. So, to start out with, sleep. Sleep is so important. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. Poor sleep increases heart disease risk factors like blood pressure and diabetes because poor sleep can negatively impact food choices, stress, and activity throughout the day. You can work up towards that 7 to 9 hours by setting up a good bedtime routine and also practicing these other habits as well. Daily movement is an incredibly powerful method to protect your heart. Work up to at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity a week, and you will develop a lot of different physical adaptations to strengthen your heart muscle, lower blood pressure levels, and improve blood flow. And all of these help to prevent heart disease. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Maybe start out with a brisk walk or go dancing or pickleball, anything that gets your heart rate up and your breathing rate up will help your heart get stronger. Just give it enough effort so you feel your body is working, but you can still have a comfortable conversation. Wherever you're starting, remember that all movement counts and any movement is better than no movement. Next, work on releasing your stress. Stress can lead to increased heart rate, blood pressure, unhealthy habits, and negative mental health. And all of these impact the heart. You can start gratitude journaling and practice positivity or relaxation techniques with mindfulness or calming music, or engaging in one of your favorite hobbies that helps to keep your mind focused. And not only that, make time for friends and family. Studies show people who are more socially connected can live longer. And these folks are at reduced risk for earlier death from all causes, including heart disease. Make time then for genuine connection and maybe even share your health goals with each other. The more social support that you have, the easier it is to maintain the goals that you set for yourself. Now, for some things to keep in mind, if you're a smoker, quitting smoking is the most impactful way to immediately improve your heart health. Tobacco harms the heart directly by causing plaque buildup in arteries, raising blood pressure, and making blood more likely to clot, increasing risk of heart attack and stroke. We at UCSC have a Freedom from Smoking Cessation group coaching program. So if this is something that interests you, let me know and we'll try to get a group started. And additionally, limit the amount of alcohol that you drink. The World Health Organization actually agrees that there is no safe level of alcohol consumption for health. So today we covered a bunch of ideas for small changes and also some bigger overall goals. But my best advice to you is to start small. It's really the small things that you can repeat every single day that are going to improve your health in the long term, not necessarily making a bunch of big changes all at once that eventually get tiring and drop off. My question and my challenge for you today is to think of one small action that you can commit to help support your heart today. We have some chats. Let's see. Blended cottage cheese in place of cream cheese or, sorry, heavy cream. Amazing. That's a great idea. Day 200, no cigarettes. Congratulations. That is amazing. Awesome job. Well, that is all we have for today. This is a Wellness in Action series workshop. So in 2 weeks, we will meet up again on Wednesday, August 19th from 12 to 12:30. Come share what you tried, ask questions to the group, and learn from each other. It'll be a great time, and I hope to see you then. Let me know if you have any questions. You can always email me. Looks like some of us are taking a long walk today. Definitely enjoy that. I hope you enjoy the outside. There's sun here in Scotts Valley. So have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.